Planning a trip for Disneyland Paris? As someone who's visited the US Disney parks countless times, I thought I knew what to expect. But I was in for quite a few surprises. In this video, I'm sharing what I wish I had known before going so that you can be fully prepared to have a magical time. Are you ready? Here we go. Hey, I am Nasa and I did tons of research and planning before my Disneyland Paris and Paris trip. Those vlogs are already on the channel now. However, during my trip, I ran into a few hiccups and some things that completely surprised me as a regular Disney goer. But I'm sharing here so that you won't be surprised, you'll be prepared, unlike me, and you'll know what to expect. The first thing, and this I didn't come across when I was there, but the first thing that is actually really amazing about Disneyland Paris is that when you book a hotel stay with one of the Disneyland Paris resorts, it includes your tickets for a 2-day park hopper. That is so amazing. It's not like you have your hotel stay and then you need to add it. It was already included. I found this was really nice and just kind of made it great. So you weren't trying to think about how many days you should do. It's just included in your stay. Another thing to know about Disneyland Paris is they don't have the typical multi-pass experience like they do in Disneyland or even Genie Plus, which it used to be in Disney World and Disneyland. They have what's called Premier Pass, and they have individual Premier Pass, and then they have the ultimate all access Premier Pass. The nice thing is that for those high ticket rides, you can buy a single pass for that one ride. For example, Crush's Coaster always had like a 70-minute wait or more, but you could buy an individual pass for that ride. And they had it for every ride. You could buy Small World, you could buy like all the rides that Premier Pass was offered on, you could buy an individual or you could get the full Premier Pass. The individual costs for those really varied depending on the day and the ride. For example, I paid 16 euros for Big Thunder Mountain, and on the same day, It's a Small World was like 5 euros. So you could kind of see. At the same time, prior to my going, and this is where the hiccup was, I planned on purchasing Premier All Access Pass to try and see what it was like. It said it was 90 euros. However, that is on a fluctuating scale. I should have known, it's Disney, but the day that I went, or the time that I went and the day I purchased it, it was 160 euros. So that price can vary. So make sure you keep that in mind when you are thinking about if you're going to purchase it or not, that it could change. So you might need to budget more. It was a very busy day, and you can see that vlog and how we use Premier Access, if we thought it was worth it, already on the channel. It's a good one. We had a good day. Next up, and this was sad as a major Disney adult, but magic bands are not a thing there. You don't need to worry about packing them, which again, I love my magic band. They are so nice for tapping into your resort, for tapping into the parks, everything like in Disney World, in Disneyland Paris. That is not a thing. When you check into your resort, you get a card, and it's cool because it says your name. Not your name. It says the resort name, and the ticket information is on the back. That is how you get into your room. That is how you get into the parks. So you have to keep that handy. You will use the app and download to purchase lightning lanes. Sorry, Premier Access. See, I already got it, wrong. But you will use your phone, but there's no magic band. So you can leave those at home. Okay, this next one is a doozy for me, and I am so not used to it. Coming from Washington State, I was very, very surprised. There is smoking allowed in the Disney parks. And because it is France, smoking is much more prevalent, and I was very shocked at that. In the US, in Washington State, you cannot smoke more. You have to be 25 feet away from a door. That is not the case. Now, Disney does have like areas in the parks where you need to be to smoke. Like they have designated smoking areas. I did see some people kind of smoking here or there. I think once I saw someone get reprimanded for it, but I did see like smoking on Main Street. As someone who is very sensitive to smoke, that was a shock, and I wasn't prepared to deal with that, to have meds or whatnot to accommodate the itchy eyes and dry throat that being around smoke would do. With that, that'll lead me right into the next thing, is that there are not as many sundries available at the Disney parks or the resort. Now, what do I mean by that? If you forget cough drops, good luck. Anything. If you go into a US Disney park or resort, there are areas where you can find sunscreen, chapstick, throat lozenges, general like basic meds you might need, like Advil or anything like that, right? That is not the case in Disneyland Paris. We searched everywhere for throat lozenges. It was also very hard to say cough drop. Like there was a big communication barrier for like, we need something for our throat. They thought we wanted lotion. So we were not prepared for that. And I did have things like Tylenol and Advil, but trying to find other things was really hard. Now, luckily, Sophie from Most Magical Guides, and I'll put her information in because if you're going to Disneyland Paris, you should be watching her videos, but I messaged her and was like, where can I find these? And she said to go to the train station. There was a shop there where she'll get some snacks and drinks, and they had cough drops there. So again, my throat was so sore from all the smoke, I just couldn't handle it. And that's where we could find meds like that. But it means like going outside of security. It wasn't a huge deal, but it could have been easier to just bring my own meds, my own things, bring it a whole medicine case just in case. That is the smart trick right there. While we're talking about fewer things around the parks, it is quick service options. Now, quick service is like fast food. We stayed at the Disneyland Hotel and also at the Newport Bay Hotel. Neither of them had a quick service option for breakfast. Like they only had full service, like table service dining. And that is not what I want for a quick breakfast. And knowing that was rather challenging for just going, you're just hungry, you want to grab something to eat. You don't want a full sit down meal. It was really hard to find that. The food in Paris, hands down, was much better. I'm a vegan. They had really delicious vegan options. I ate very well, so that was good. But there were just fewer options, fewer restaurants, especially fewer quick service options in the resorts. And that was very surprising to me when you're used to on arrival day or in the morning before heading to the parks, that you would just run down and grab, a bagel or a quick oatmeal. And that is not a possibility, at least at those resorts that I stayed at. I stayed at 2 different resorts and found that that was the case. I personally ended up going to Starbucks there in Disney Village and grabbing things. I would get a fruit cup, throw it in my fridge, eat it the morning before, and then get breakfast later on if I was doing early entry or rope drop. But again, something to be prepared for, maybe pack some granola bars, something you could have if you're doing early mornings and not wanting to do a sit-down breakfast every morning. Along the lines of dining does close earlier in the parks. The whole park, I was very surprised. One day I had tried to go to the Tony Stark Avengers Campus place. I went in and they were already closed at 6 p.m. when the park didn't close till 8. So there were certain things I was very surprised that also would happen over in Disneyland Paris for the, as they were getting ready for fireworks. Places closed earlier. I was very surprised. Plan accordingly. Make sure you're looking in the app and seeing when things close. If you're used to the Disney parks where everything stays out open late, that not everything closes super early, I would be prepared for that. Along those lines, a lot of the park closed with fireworks. We were there in May and we expected to do rides. Leading up to that, because of the way the fireworks are, they have to close a lot of the park, which is very similar to Disneyland. However, in Disneyland, after fireworks, Disneyland California, you could go after fireworks. They reopened Toontown and Fantasyland. That is not the case in Disneyland Paris, where we were we'll go do some rides after. And it's no, the park is closed. They also seem to usher you more out, where in Disney World, Disneyland, parks closed. You kind of have an hour or so to meander your way up, go through some stores, whereas there, the stores are closed. They're just escorting you out. It might be due to something along the lines of the trains and their workers needing to take the train back to get home. I'm not 100% positive. I know that that's the case in, say, Tokyo, but Again, plan accordingly. It's not like you can stay out super late, and the park closed at 9. Again, something that was super early for me as a US park goer. All of these things that I've mentioned seem like reasons to not go to Disneyland Paris. Like, all these seems like negatives. However, I will say that the rides there are the best versions of the rides, hands down. Now, again, I have not been to any other international park than Disneyland Paris. However, Big Thunder Mountain, #1, hands down the best in Disneyland Paris. I loved it. You go underground, amazing. Hyperspace Mountain, which is their version of Space Mountain, has a vertical launch. The land is so cool. Best version. And even the dark rides just felt like they were a little more new, refreshed. Like I just loved them. So I felt like their versions of rides were top notch. So amazing. And they're opening up. Walt Disney Studios is getting like a complete overhaul with a new park name and new land, like Frozen Land or something. Like, it's going to be amazing, and I can't wait to go back and visit those. But don't let these other things prevent you from going, but just things to be aware as you're planning and preparing for your trip. Okay, the last 2 points are kind of coincide. One is that Disney Village, which is Disneyland Paris's version of, say, Disney Springs or Downtown Disney, and it is so much smaller than the US counterparts. That means that there are fewer shopping options. The shops are smaller, both in Disneyland, Walt Disney Studios. I felt that they were smaller, there was fewer options, and which was surprising. I was there to shop. I'm used to a wall of ear options. There was not a ton. Now, if you go watch my video already on the channel of my Paris haul, you'll say, you did pretty good for yourself. I even got this sweatshirt right here, right? Like, great merch, but it was just fewer options, which was surprising for me. So I, again, was still able to spend plenty, but there were, like I said, less things to get. And with that, I would say, I hope that you're feeling prepared and excited that these tips will help you from having those same hiccups that I did, that you're really prepared. Pack those throat lozenges and snacks, pack lots of snacks. But otherwise, have an amazing time. If there's any other questions you have, leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to help with my experience. Like I said, go follow Sophie from Most Magical Guides. She was my inspiration and reason I went, because I did find everyone spoke English very well. Even I do not know any French except bonjour. And I said that was it. And they were very friendly. It was a magical time. So with that, I'll catch you in the next video. Go watch this one already on the channel.